Okay, welcome to my living room. This is our apartment. Casey is at a work meeting, so it's just us here today. So I asked on my Instagram for you guys to ask some questions about seasons of singleness and how to better take advantage of those seasons, and also how to better prepare for marriage, because I feel like all of us, me included, like when me and Casey got engaged, I was just like, gulp, like it's such a like weighty thing, like, oh, am I ready for my wedding day? Like, you don't realize how unready you are until it starts happening. Anyways, so I know all of us are all on that train of like, let's get ready, like let's learn all we can, read all the books, like especially when you're engaged. I feel like it's just this like, oh, what can I do to better myself for like my husband? So I wanted to start off with some of my favorite like role model type like speakers, influencers, authors, that kind of thing for this kind of topic. So my first off recommendation just of any book in general is always Uninvited by Turkist. I recommend that book to kind of just like, it speaks into what you and the Lord's relationship gets to look like when you feel uninvited. And I feel like a lot of times in our seasons of singleness, we feel uninvited. We don't feel a part of the cool kids club, having a relationship, having the cutesy wootsy Instagram pictures and the engagement photos and marriage someday and all that is amazing stuff. But anyways, so I feel like she does an amazing job, Turkist, in Uninvited, of just speaking into any kind of season of feeling uninvited to the club, basically. And I would recommend that for any season of life, but especially singleness. I'd say my favorite like person to speak on really anything for young adults is probably Sadie Robertson. I'm sorry if that's like a basic answer or anything, but I just think she's amazing. I remember going through a breakup in college and listening to Sadie's YouTube, or watching Sadie's YouTube videos about her breakup a couple years prior or whatever. Helped me so much, just like have the confidence to speak into breakups and have the confidence to move forward, and not just continue to have a pity party about it, and know that better things are to come. Her YouTube videos are amazing, and then also I've heard her speak at Passion so many times, always just like speaking so much confidence into us, which I think is hard to have in a season of singleness, because like I said, you just feel like you're not a part of the cool club when you are single, and you're just like, why can't I have this? And it's almost like this desperation inside of us that we're just like, until I have XYZ like within a boyfriend, like I'm gonna be lonely. Like I want someone like to date me so I'm not lonely all the time, so I can do things with them. And I feel like Sadie's messages and like people like Christine Kane, Priscilla Shire, just like speaking confidence into who we are in Christ and speaking confidence into what Christ can do for us and to what he says about us. Those are just like insane things to instill in yourself before you meet that person that you're going to date and marry, because you want to be confident on your own. If I am ever insecure of like the Lord's love for me and my own confidence, then no one else can like truly love me. Like I can't feel fully loved by Casey if I am not feeling loved by Christ, and like if I am not like resting in the assurance that he loves me and he's proud of me, and like I am his daughter and he is my confidence. Casey cannot be my confidence. Christ is my confidence. Just those messages in general, like by any of those women, like just awesome, like empowering messages, like to speak confidence into yourself and to begin to really learn scripture about who you are in Christ and who he says you are, because the world will tell you you are XYZ. That is absolutely not true. The world will tell you that when you are in your singleness, you are ugly, you are alone, you're not good enough. The enemy will try to convince you that no one is going to come along. And then if you are talking to a guy that is kind of like below your standard, or like not really pursuing the Lord like you are, the enemy will try to convince you, oh, well, you just need to go for it because nothing better is ever going to come along. And let me stop you right there. That is just absolutely not true, like in any way, shape, or form. The Lord does not lead you into less. He only leads you into more. Okay, sorry, my phone died. That's why we're at a different camera angle now. But basically, I want to hop into those questions you guys asked on my story earlier, because there were so many good ones that I think a lot of people probably have about seasons of singleness and stuff like that. So let's hop on in. The first one that I wanted to talk about is actually the first question that was asked, so that's funny, but it was a really good one. She asked any tips on pre-engagement, and what did you and Casey talk or pray about on deciding when? So everyone's time frame for dating, marriage, all the things is so different, and the Lord's timing is so sweet for you individually, and you cannot compare that to anyone else. I would say that's my number one advice with like dating and like being anxious about like when you're getting engaged and married and all that. Like, your time frame is different from everyone else's, and like I have friends who are amazing and have been dating for like 4 years and are still not engaged, but they're gonna get married. Like, they know, they've talked about it, like, but there's nothing wrong with waiting if like that's what your time frame looks like, and there's nothing wrong with moving fast if that you know that the Lord has said yes and like your time frame is full saying yes. So basically Casey and I talked about marriage a few months in, and it was like I'd never talked about marriage with a guy before, because I think that's something that you should totally guard your heart on, and not just go around and say I want to marry you because you have a crush on someone. It should just be something that's very prayed over, very thought out. So anyways, basically Casey and I just talked about it in Birmingham one day when he came to visit me after he had talked to his parents about some stuff, and he just felt like it was time to like bring it up and be like, basically like, is this something you want to do? Not like get on one knee, didn't have the ring yet, anything like that. But yeah, so that's like from that day on, we prayed about it that day, and just like we're like, okay. And basically every weekend from then on out, I was like, all right, when's the ring coming? And eventually December 23rd, she came. So anyways, let's go to the next question. So one person asked, any advice you wish you had known during your seasons of singleness? And I know this may not be like, this is pretty basic advice, honestly, but when you're married, you have less time for your friends. I will say it, like you're feeding your husband, you're cooking, you're cleaning. Like, Casey is the most like flexible, amazing human ever about like letting me have girl weekends and girls trips and stuff like that. But I also just like feel bad when I'm not like doing a good job of like being his wife and like being here and like taking care of him. Like, not that he can't take care of himself, but I love like being there for him, you know? So I would say like if you're like feeling like you really wish you had a boyfriend or fiance or husband or whatever right now, like you never get this season back to go on like random spontaneous trips with your friends, like to like stay up all night with them, to like go to church with them every Sunday, to serve at like church, to like make coffee at 4 a.m. in the morning at church, like to just like do so many different things that you will do with your husband someday, but like not necessarily your friends. And yes, your husband is your best friend, but you just don't have quite as much time for like girl hangs all the time. So that would be my advice, is take advantage of it and don't consider it a bad like waiting season that you're in. All right, so next question, let's see. Going from dating to singleness. Oh gosh, okay. So this is a tough one because breakups are just horrible. Like I hate breakups, literally hate them so much, so much. So going from dating to singleness, I don't want to go into like heartbreak stuff because that's a totally different YouTube video and like just healing from that. But going from dating to singleness is very challenging because you're used to spending so much time with this person, and yes, you're gonna miss them, and yes, you're gonna want to like fill that void somehow. For me, like in the past, whenever breakups did happen, the only way to like fill that void was just getting on my knees in prayer and being like, I can't do this without you, God. Like, just come and take like the time and space that needs to be filled, like, because your mind will run to places that you miss, like about the relationship and stuff like that, when you go to a season of singleness. And then also something that I think I learned during my season of singleness after dating before Casey was that Jesus is the king of our hearts. Like, in a relationship, out of a relationship, it doesn't matter. And if we're trying to give that place to a guy, like, it will never end well. Like, even if you're in marriage, like, it's not going to be a healthy season of marriage if you're putting your husband above Jesus. And so for me, like, learning to be like, okay, God, whenever I got distracted by a guy or like a thought or anything, just being like, okay, God, like, come and take back your place as the king of my heart. And that just like was a very good habit that I developed in season of singleness after dating, that I was able to put into play as I started dating Casey. Because, you know, when you get the butterflies and you get all giddy about dating someone that you really like, it's easy to get distracted and not really focus on the Lord and just focus on that guy or girl. And like, I would do that sometimes with Casey, kind of like realize like I'm starting to like think about him so much, and like I just need to get my thoughts back on the Lord, spend more time in the Word. And I would literally just sing King of my heart that worship song, because it would just help me like align my focus again. Like, yes, like I love Casey, like he's great, but Jesus, I love you more. Like, you're the king of my heart. Like, you come first. Like, you're the first thing I think about in the morning. Like, you steal my attention more than anyone else. So yes, that's that one. Okay, let's go into the next question. One girl asked me how to stop looking at your singleness as a waiting period, and this is kind of what I touched on earlier. Like, your season of singleness is like not bad, and it's not like your life is on hold until you get in a relationship. No, you have so many great relationships, like outside of boyfriend-girlfriend relationships around you right now. You have so much like at your fingertips of like YouTube videos, like podcasts, sermons, books, the Bible, that you can like better yourself in. It's not like a season of waiting, it's a season of learning and growing and becoming a better version of yourself, so that you can be the best version of yourself you've ever been when you get married. So yes. And then how to stay positive when everyone else is getting in relationships. I also touched on this earlier, but your time frame is different than everyone else's, and I know it's not easy because you compare yourself to people on Instagram who have the cutesy wootsy pictures, and you're like, I just wish I could have that, and I wouldn't be lonely if I just had someone to do everything with. But stop right there. It's like I said earlier, like, that person is not going to fill the void if it's not filled with Jesus first. Like, Casey is the best addition to my life in the universe. Amazing. The best blessing and gift ever. But if I was looking to Casey to fill that void before Christ, then it wouldn't work and it wouldn't fill the void. So let's see. What did you do to fall more in love with Jesus and not feel the single blues? So I love to talk about this. So I think the most important thing we can do is like serve when we're in a season of singleness, because first of all, ladies, church is a good place to find a boy. Casey asked me on our first like date hang kind of thing when I was at Passion, or he saw me and thought to ask me and was too shy, and then he DM'd me the next day. But anyways, so sorry, I forgot the question. Okay, how do you fall more in love with Jesus in a season of singleness? Sorry guys, all over the place. But my thought on this would just be like, get so involved with church, get so involved with serving the people around you, get so involved with coffee dates and just pouring into other people and like being poured into also. But for me, like, the thing that was absolutely crucial in between my last relationship ending and meeting Casey was getting so involved with serving at church and college ministry at Church of the Highlands in Birmingham. I met my best friend Cece, absolutely life-changing, and just the most life-giving friends and experiences. And I feel like just like the best way to like take up my time and space was like at church, and was through that good community, and just like constantly being reminded that Jesus has better plans for me than I could ever think, dream, or imagine, related to boys, jobs, future, just everything. So yes, and we're only gonna answer like one or two more because I feel like this video is already very long. So sorry guys, I'll try to crop some things out. Oh, this is a good one. We'll do this one. How did you use your singleness to learn to trust again after your last relationship before your husband? So I kind of touched on this earlier, but there were several like kind of in between my two relationships, the one that ended and then like Casey, like there were 2 or 3 like times where I like almost went on a date with guys, or did go on a date with a guy just to kind of like, you know, test the waters, see how we were feeling, pray about it. And I just really didn't have like a peace about them, and like really have a good peace about like moving forward and like dating that person. And even though I wanted to say yes because they were like amazing, like I just didn't have a peace about it. So just learning to trust that like the Lord does give us peace, and just like listening to him and like having discernment for what his peace is and what is just us wanting to like go full sin on something, and because we think it's nothing better is going to come along. So I would say just like learning to feel out like what the Lord's peace is for you, and just really being in prayer about that. So that's it for today. Sorry we didn't have time to answer all those questions, but they were amazing. Thank you so much for asking them. And drop ideas for new videos in the comments, please, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of these, and I'm so excited to dive in and hear what you guys have questions about, and then prayerfully answer those. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment new video requests. Thanks, guys.